Hey everyone, happy Wednesday, the first Wednesday of 2021. I'm so excited to be here. I am Violette de Ayala. I'm the founder of FemCity, and you're joining me for our Wednesday Wisdom. It is our podcast that we actually live stream into Facebook and also into YouTube. And today I have one of our femmes. She and I have worked together on like 2 or 3 projects together, I think 2 or 3. And I thought today's topic would be so great. It's all about how to set healthy boundaries. It is something that women struggle with. I know a lot of our femmes are looking to have a 2021 with set boundaries. So I asked Heather to come on today and help us get through this and set healthy boundaries. Heather, can you share a little bit about yourself for femmes that may not know you?
Sure, absolutely. So my name's Heather, and my history is 24 years in the private, nonprofit, and education sectors. And I've also been practicing mindfulness meditation for over 20 years, and I'm being certified as a teacher, as a mindfulness meditation teacher in 5 weeks, a 2-year program, finally certified in 5 weeks, which is very exciting. So what I try to do is bring mindfulness into companies for wellness. And I also offer individuals one-on-one mindfulness meditation sessions and Reiki. So that's my shtick. And tonight I really wanted to focus on using mindfulness to set healthy boundaries.
Yes, healthy boundaries. Yeah. So let's look. Some femmes might be going, what is a healthy boundary?
Okay.
I don't know why. But anyway, can you share with us?
You sound fine to me.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Boundaries. The tendency for women is to hold other people up. We're told to smile. We're told to keep things moving. That's why you'll see a lot of women in middle management, but you will see only 2% of venture capitalist funds going to female entrepreneurs. Okay. So we're programmed to give and give and give until it hurts us, right? So that's the tendency. And if you are a spiritual person or you're a healer type, you may even have a tendency to take people's problems on as your own. Okay, so that causes us to feel tired, exhausted, fatigued, resentful, and it stops us from being the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Love that example. Love that example. And if you guys are joining us live and you want to join the conversation, feel free to add comments here. Our intention is to help you to set healthy boundaries for 2021. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you're watching this in the library later on, again, even if it's months from now, feel free to go ahead and reach out if we can help you with this topic anymore. So what does it mean when we talk about setting healthy boundaries? I think that some femmes might have the question of what does that even look like? What does that even mean to them?
There's a really good metaphor of the apple. If you think of your boundaries as layered, like the layer of an apple, the first layer, the skin of the apple, is like our behavior. It's external. It's what people see. It's what we do for other people, right? So doing things for other people. Then if you go to the second layer of the apple, the fleshy part, that is our emotions, how we take on other people's emotions and how we support them emotionally. And then the third layer, the core of the apple and our core, is the intrapersonal part of the boundary. What are our needs and how does that compare to the need of another person?
Okay. Love that example.
Yeah. And one more thing I just want to add too. And if the intrapersonal, that core piece is the most important piece to work with, because if we don't, then we have an imbalance in our nervous system, et cetera, and that causes depression and anxiety.
Okay. Which makes sense because you're depleted. In essence, you're depleted and there's nothing supporting you and what you need. So that totally makes sense. So let's say someone was watching and they know. I think if you're watching and you can kind of resonate with what Heather just said, this is probably perfect for you. I think most women have this challenge in their life to create these healthy boundaries. What's your advice for someone who's watching right now and saying, or listening later on, who's saying, okay, I know I need to do this. I don't even know how to get started. Like I realize that, last year, perhaps those things came up, exhaustion, giving, not having the, taking on the problems of other people. How can women really start to create those healthy boundaries for 2021?
Yeah. Right. So if you go back to the core, the interpersonal, trying to understand what your needs are versus what someone else's needs are, that's where the mindfulness piece comes in. So there are some specific steps you can take that are related to mindfulness. And I practice these myself as well. When someone makes a request, stop your response. Don't respond immediately, because I think women are helpers and problem solvers, and they want to, this is a tendency, it's a generalization. I'm not saying all women are this way,
right.
But the tendency is to react immediately and help somebody without stopping. So just stop before responding or reacting. And then take a few breaths, slow down, take a few breaths and connect with yourself. Are you feeling agitated right now? Why are you feeling agitated? So just be with whatever reaction, like visceral reaction you have in the moment. And if it feels wonderful and you feel more open, then do it. But if your emotions are information, they're indicators.
I love that.
So it's important. We're told usually to ignore our emotions, but actually we need to connect with them more often and reveal what's there. And if you don't want to do something, then don't do it, or create more space so you have more time. So again, just slow down, stop, connect with your needs, honor both. Identify what your needs are, identify what the other person's needs are, honor both, and then have a mindful response instead of a knee-jerk reaction.
Love that. Yeah, because I wrote down emotion are your indicator, because I hear so many times women, like when they get out of a situation that they didn't want to be in, they say, I knew, like it didn't feel right at the beginning. Like when that person asked me or when I took it on, like it was something I didn't want to do, but I felt compelled to do it. I felt like I had to say yes right away. And so I love that you shared that. If your gut's telling you, if your intuition's telling you, if you're kind of like, this doesn't feel right, this is not the way I want to go. I love that you giving the permission to pause and reflect before asking, or rather saying yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you might find that your needs conflict with their needs, or you may find that they're in alignment and giving is what you want to do.
Right.
But allowing the pause is very, very important.
I love that. A couple of years ago, we actually taught a class on how to say no when it comes to business opportunities, because so many femmes were like, okay, how do I say no? Like, when someone says, hey, do you want to, do this project together, or this campaign, or whatever the opportunity is? And I gave them like 3 examples of how to say no, because I think that's another challenge that women have, is that they just don't know how to physically say no without making the other person feel bad, or rather the perception is that you will make them feel bad if you say no. So just going through that, it just reminded me now of like, one was just saying, no, this isn't aligned with me. This is not, in my scope of alignment. Another one can be referring it to somebody else. Like, this is not something that I would like, but you know what? This is perfect for Heather. I can't remember the third one, but I gave a couple ways because I think that's another problem, is that they just don't know how to get out of commitments, or when they're setting those healthy boundaries, they feel so bad when they say no to somebody else.
Yeah. And I think something to add to what you're talking about is conflict. I think some women are conflict avoidant. They don't want conflict, and they assume that they're going to create it by saying no. Yeah. And it's really about conflicting needs. So if you just really try to focus on what does the person really need right now? What do I need right now? Just really focusing on the needs and if they meet or not, and then responding accordingly, Yeah.
It's also a word that's coming to my head right now is like intentional. That you're saying just to be really intentional about what you're bringing into your life, whether it's energy or relationships or scenarios, opportunities. The pause makes it so that it's intentional. It's not like this knee-jerk reaction to just take it on and then all of a sudden you've no longer set healthy boundaries at all.
Yeah, because the goal is to live our greatest lives.
Right.
Right. And we can't do that if we're completely bogged down by fulfilling other people's needs.
Right. Right. Yeah. You can't be your higher self or your greater, the greater good. You can't do that if you're taking on things that don't make sense, that don't align. Final advice that you have for women that are really looking to create those healthy boundaries for 2021?
Yes. My number one key takeaway in practice is the practice of the pause. That's a mindfulness term. Whenever you feel something, and it happens in a second, just stop, take 3 slow, long, deep breaths. And you can stop or you can do it in the middle of an activity. Just be very present in the breathing and slow things down so you can process them.
Yeah. Excellent tip. Excellent tip. All right, Heather, how can Fems find you to learn more about the work that you are doing?
All right. So we talked about boundary setting today, and that's a chapter from my book, Be Kind and Take No Shit. So if people are interested in taking a look at the book, or they are also interested in mindful leadership, I'm teaching a mindful leadership class through George Mason University, which is an accredited university, so people can actually get a continuing education credit if they like. The class is designed for professionals and students, so you can live anywhere in the world and attend. It's a 5-week live webinar. So that's also accessible on my website. You can access the book or the class on the website. I also have a free guided meditation and a lot of resources about mindfulness on the website. Free resources. I have a freebies page, so people can access freebies on there too.
What's your website, Heather?
It's heathergwaltney.com.
Okay. Great. And we will have that on the show notes. So if you want to come back and look at it later on, I'll add it there for you. So it makes it really easy. Heather, thank you so much for sharing your tips with us today. I'm wishing you a great 2021. It was great today. And
yes, Violet.
For those that are watching, we want you guys to have healthy boundaries for 2021. And if we can be of service anymore, please reach out and let us know. Wishing you guys a great week. Oh, there's a question.
Okay.
How can you set better boundaries with loved ones who don't respect the boundaries you've tried to set for yourself, but they don't respect?
Okay, so if someone doesn't respect your boundaries, that's somewhat their problem, not your problem. That people's problems are not your problems. And I think that, I would need to know a little bit more about what specifically is happening, but I think behaviors, what comes up for me is your behavior is the strongest boundary rather than what you say. Because my experience is that sometimes you'll say no, and then you'll end up doing it. So consistency, like your actions matching your words, and just stepping away a little bit, even by creating more space and saying no internally and discontinuing how you're responding, that's going to shift things. There's always a giver and a receiver, right? So if you're receiving something that you don't like, but you receive it differently, it's going to change the way the giver gives. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, that makes total sense. I don't know who asked it because it says Facebook user, but let us know if you need elaboration or if you're good to go. That was a great response. And I think that's a common one that I think a lot of women feel. And I love that you shared that, because sometimes when you change the energy, it's received differently. And then sometimes when I have those conflicts and I just energetically, all of a sudden it'll kind of just go away. It's interesting. It'll just kind of, I no longer give attention to it. Yeah, it shifts, and it's like I don't give it any more power. I remove it, and then all of a sudden it just kind of like fades away.
Yeah, and you can be a sensitive, loving person and have healthy boundaries. A healthy boundary doesn't mean that you're like, no, I'm not going to do anything you ask me. It's just a more thoughtful response, and it's an honoring of your own needs. That's all it is. It just creates more balance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. Yeah, I just took off 2 weeks for the holidays, and that was a healthy boundary, and I was really good. Before I would probably have felt so guilty, but this year I was like, I'm not feeling guilty about it. It's my healthy boundary. It can wait. Yes, exactly. And then I came back more energetic and recharged. So it helps everyone that I'm in touch with. All right. Thanks so much, Heather.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And I will see you later. Bye.
Bye.